good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the first episode of Founder Stories brought to you by NPF Academy. At NoPaperForms, we've always accentuated upon bringing the best and very high quality webinars to receive the insights from the leaders in the education industry. And this webinar is all the more special because of the guest that we have today. A dear friend, the very well-known, admired, loved Mr. Aman Mittal. Welcome, Aman sir, and how are you doing today and what's the plan for the weekend?
Hi, Suraj. Thank you for inviting me for this webinar. No plans for this weekend. You know, when you are in the month of April, May, June, July, and especially actually now it starts much early January, educationists and the people who are into the business development of the education, they don't get weekends. So definitely there's no weekend plan. And it's doing this meeting, and tomorrow also it is tied up. Sunday also is tied up. And then, yeah, the weeks begins. So no weekend plan. Thanks to people like you. You give more visibility to us than the data, and then you keep thinking that what to do with the data.
Absolutely. The same is with us. If while you are working, we are also working. You keep us on the edge all the time. And thank you so much for that. So the idea behind doing the founder stories is to, inspire and get inspired rather from the hardships of the institutions who've been able to build a legacy. So thanks again for being a part of it. I'm really excited to learn about LPU's journey. We've worked, together for several years now, but I think that one element of that candidness is something that I've remained aloof. So I want to discover a lot about that today. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Suraj. Looking forward to our discussion with you.
Yeah. So now, lovely professional university, Aman sir, as the world knows, is home to more than 30,000 students, is ranked amongst the top 40 universities in the country, have given the world many champions across domains of engineering, science, research, sports. However, how did all of this start from? Is what we like to know, and what led to this idea of starting the institution? Who in the family took the charge, and what was the motivation for the founders behind it?
So Suraj, I mean, before we really jump into how we started the university, I think it's important to know that from where the group even actually began. So it's a very humble story. Which we started in the year 1960s. I mean, my grandfather, Mr. Baldevraj Mittal, used to work in a military contract in a canteen. I mean, there's a military contractor. There's a canteen which is attached to a brigade, and every year the brigade used to move, the canteen used to move, and all the employees of the canteen used to move. So I'm talking about that era in 50s when my grandfather used to work for this canteen, and my father is born in Solan. One of the chacha is born in Haryana. So it's a huge family which used to move every 3 years. And when the family got big, and my daddy said, okay, we need to settle at some place, and we settled at Jalandhar as a city, and started with a very humble shop in 1961. And it was named as Sweet House. And think about 1960, shop, a sweet shop. Generally think of a person who's making sweets and selling on the street. But at that time, 60 years back, it was a sweet shop where you actually open the door, enter, sweets is being displayed, and you buy those. And it's one of the most new concept in northern part of India minus Delhi. I mean, there could be 1 or 2 shops in Delhi, but beyond that, there was nothing in this part of the world. And from there, the humble beginning of the group started. And as we progress, we've seen the bad times to an extent when we didn't have 2 square meals to have. And in 1980s, when dad joined actually, and he had to drop out of the college and join the business. And then we certainly saw a growth in the business. In 86, we were pretty stable with the sweet business. 91 came into education in the automobile sector with the dealership of Maruti and Bajaj. And in late 90s, we wanted to do something for the society. I mean, we wanted to open a charitable hospital or a dharamshala. And one of our friends mentioned that, why don't you do something in the area of education? It's a long-term contribution to the society. So at that time, we thought of opening a college. So answer your question, what prompted us? It was a very social enterprise that was in our mind in late 90s. And 2001, the first college of LPU or of Lovely Group came into existence. And that's how we started. But once we entered into education, we saw there's a huge opportunity. There's so much of gap between what the industry wants, what the academia is giving, and what the students are expecting, we thought it's a good opportunity, and we took it so seriously. And today, LPU as a decent brand name and a strong education player, not in India but across the world.
Great. So you said that your grandfather Baldev Raj Mittal sir, while working in canteens, you used to move from different states to state, and so your grandmother actually insisted her to get settled. And
absolutely, that's it. That's how we started. So what we see as a lovely group, it started with a 500 rupees loan from this employer. And so that's the humble story. Just started with rupees 500, which we took. It's a plunge that my grandfather took. And I think as the next generation moved, so I'm the third generation. So as the third generation got into the business, we kind of contributed and tried to make it as big as possible.
All right, a 500 rupee loan to start a sweet shop, right? Was it a showroom? Was it a store, or was it an open?
It's a very small store, Suraj. What you can in 60s, with rupees 500 loan, you have to do everything. So it was a very humble 15 by 10 square feet shop, not even a showroom. Showroom definition nowadays is very different, but at that time, a shop, was a 150 square feet shop.
Okay, and who in your family has a nickname called Lovely, for which carrying that name, you named the sweet house?
Suraj, you are probably, all the people would be astonished to know that in our family, nobody has a name Lovely, but everybody is definitely lovely. And again, it's a very interesting story. So when we opened this sweet shop in 1960s, it was named as Sweet House, a house of sweets. So it was named as Sweet House, and my grandfather called a brigadier to inaugurate the store. And he said, "Okay, what's your name?" And my grandfather said, "It's a Sweet House. We think it's a house full of sweets." No, you need to have a brand name, the brigadier said. And my grandfather said, like, "Whatever you say, sir, we're gonna put the name." And the brigadier said that my granddaughter name is Lovely. It will go with your product. So why don't you name it Lovely Sweet House? So what do you see? Lovely Sweet House, Lovely Automobiles, or Lovely Professional University is on a name of a brigadier's granddaughter, and not for anybody from the family. And generally, it's a misconception. A lot of time people visit LPU and they come to meet us, and they say that, "Oh no, where is Lovely Singh?" I said, there is no Lovely Singh here with a red bucket. So it's interesting to that people have that notion about Lovely as a name. But I think the trust and brand value that the name Lovely brings to people is humongous, and that we realized in 2001. Again, it's an interesting story that when we started our first college, we didn't name it Lovely. So the name was International Institute of Management, because it was a management and computer application college affiliated to a state university, and we named it International Institute of Management. Within first month, absolutely very few takers for the college, and we didn't understand why. There's no taker. There are no takers. People didn't know what is this college all about. So in one of the advertisement, we wrote International Institute of Management, promoted by Lovely Group. And trust me, Suraj, within a month's time, it was a kind of from 0 to 100 change in the number of seats and takers for the number of seats which were available in the university. And I think there we realized the value of brand Lovely, which we understood that creates that trust, brings that trust among people, that it's a brand that if they do anything, be it automobile or education or sweets, it's gonna be one of the best. And I think that the moment we realized it and we changed the name from International Institute of Management to Lovely Institute of Management, then a technology program or engineering college came in, then education came in, everything was named as Lovely, because we realized the brand value and the trust factor that brand Lovely brings in. So not many founders realize it till late in their career. what their brand should stand out for. And I think it is definitely for us, Lovely stand for trust, and which we think is one of our biggest USP. I mean, it's a trust. People, when they say that they're working in LPU or they're working in or they're studying in Lovely, it means it's a trust for the brand.
Great. So I was having this conversation with the marketing team, and they were asking me, okay, give us the transcript or a list of questions that you're going to ask the guests. And I told them that, boss, with the Aman sir on the screen and with the kind of passion that he has, I'm not going to speak much. I'm going to get only an opportunity to speak for 5-10 minutes. I don't really need to even, prepare a list of questions. Knowing,
Suraj, is it an indirect indication that speak less?
No, absolutely not. I'm really, driven by the enthusiasm and passion because I've seen you working very, very closely. So that's actually an inspiration. And I think this particular story because I was also under an assumption that there must be somebody in the family, like in all our Punjabi families, there is somebody with the name of Lovely. So either you are Lovely, there's somebody else who's nicknamed as Lovely, for which the name of the sweet house or the dealerships or the university was kept. But it's very, very inspirational to know that how Baldev sir started off, the sweet house and the name did Lovely. I can really now connect because everybody that I met, you have met in Mittal family, I've found them very, very humble and very, very grounded. Not just yourself or the other family members. I think even the core team that you have at LPU, right? I think resonates that kind of a culture and values. So it is a discovery for me, and I think it must be a discovery for a lot of people. How many times have you told this story to? I think beyond family, how many people would really know this?
I don't think so many people would know it because it is very close to our heart. And if somebody asks about it, for sure we do tell them, but it is not out in the public that okay, this is a story or this is a PR stunt that we do around that. It's a very close to heart story, and it is only told once. It's been asked by people, and not many people ask about it now. But initially, yes, when we were starting a college and we were named it Lovely, or when the university came up as a Lovely Professional University, at that time there were a lot of question marks at why are you keeping it Lovely as a name, and it is not very professional name, and there were some challenges around that. But I think now, it's been 15 years since the university is established, and we don't get a name that why did you keep it Lovely? I mean, it's not a right name. I think we have crossed that journey from why Lovely to it's a lovely university. So
yeah, but I will definitely like to understand that, because I think building a brand and especially when you were running a sweet manufacturing, right, with this name, and then you translate it into an education business, I'm sure that there must be some sort of a bullying which might have happened. So that's something that we like to understand from you also. That how easy was it to really build a perception of an educational institution in Jalandhar, right, which is a tier 2 city in Punjab, right? Now the world knows about it, right? And one of the reasons is obviously the leather and the sports manufacturing, and the third reason is LPU that Jalandhar is known for, right? But back then in 2001, when you had started off, right? So what was the initial perception? You mentioned about International Institute, and then you pointed that it is by the Lovely Group. So was there any kind of
Suraj, we were consider that. I mean, when we started with the college in 2001, within 2 years of our existence, 2 years, we put in the application to become the university, and we became the university in 2005, December 2005. While there were institutions which are 100 years old who were not, didn't become university till very recent.
Oh,
so I think our aim was always was also to be very bullish and very, very aggressive on our plans. So I think one of the big reason of our existence is that we have been very methodological in our plan and execution. But I mean, answering your question, that was it very difficult to reach to this stage? Absolutely, and I think everybody who's now a brand has gone through that journey of challenges and threats. And for us, when we were born in an era, so we were the fourth university in the private university in the country. So before us, it was only Amity, Dhirubhai Ambani, and JP University in Himachal, who were the private university, and we're the fourth private university in the country, first in Punjab, and there was hardly any trust on the private university at that time I mean, a lot of time people were thinking private university, I don't know their degree would be valid or not. So we have come from that era. Now, private university, state university is one and same thing, but we've come from that era. So of course, it was a very, very challenging time at that time to first convince people that the degree from a private university would be a valid, forget about from Lovely or wherever, a private university would be a valid degree. So we have come through that era. And of course, we were having I mean, I will not mince my word. We had a baggage of, that street manufacturing thing that, okay, these people are from street manufacturing background and they don't have any background in education. But I think at other end, there was also a huge trust that whatever Lovely did great with a lot of hard work, a lot of persistence, and with complete wo niyat, jisse kehte hain. So that's what Lovely has always been done. So there was another set of people who believe that if they've got into it, probably they don't have any understanding of it, but they will do good. And I think we, because of their faith on the people on the right-hand side, we have been able to prove the people on the left that, irrespective of coming from a very different background, if you have a right intent and you're ready to put in the hard work and ready to take on the challenges head on, you could be anything. And Lovely Professional University is definitely one of the success stories, which you rightly said, coming from a tier 2 city with a very unique, different brand name, and starting in an era where the private university was not considered to be a great university. So I think we proved them wrong, and with a lot of challenges. We remember when the university was to be started, and it was Amrinder sir who was this chief minister at that time of Punjab. It's a state university, and he himself mentioned that, to my father and my uncle, Mr. Shuk Mittal. I mean, Mr. Shuk Mittal is the leader in the university, and we have, he has taken us to a lot of thick and thin times. So, he mentioned to them that, aren't you doing something but Lovely Professional University? And both of them with folded hands said that, no, we want to keep it Lovely Professional University because we think we will be able to justify and make it a great brand. So I think we had faced those challenges, and that would be true with any brand who is now. We had our share of challenges.
Yeah, I can very well understand that. And I think the positioning, branding, perception change must have been really very difficult because 1960 is when you said that you started off that with the Sweet House, which then eventually got named as Lovely Sweet House. Okay, by the way, that brings a question to my mind. So the girl Lovely was the granddaughter of is she known to you now?
No, we have no idea. So we have no idea where is she now, but God bless her wherever she is.
I hope she doesn't come back and ask you.
Her name has been very lucky for us.
I hope she doesn't really come back to you and ask for some royalty now.
We don't mind paying her royalty. I mean, we don't mind that. She's been a lucky charm for sure. Yeah. But nevertheless, I think it's more than lucky charm. It's the hard work that had paid off.
Yeah, I think 41 years into the business of sweets, and then 10 years into business of automobiles. I think creating a social enterprise and then starting an institution in 2001. So you said that in 2 to 3 years of time you applied for being a university. I would like to really understand that what was the reason that you thought that, okay, this will be the right time to demand an autonomy, because autonomy is one thing, but once you get a lot of autonomy, then you are also absolutely on your own. So there are no affiliations, there is no support, also there is no discovery visibility, because the state universities then say that, okay, now you do everything that you want to do, but do it on your own self. And that has gone for a lot of universities in the country that I know that have proved the other way around for them also.
Suraj, I mean, that was definitely a risk. I mean, at that time, you're right. I mean, the discovery factor is so important. At that time, the counseling by the state and central university was the only way by which the students could get into the colleges and universities. So it was a very big risk, but we wanted to do it because we realized that being affiliated to a university, we had the curriculum was not in line. We wanted to give suggestion to the curriculum. Being a college, who cares? We wanted to change the examination. who cares? We wanted to change the whole way the curriculum is given, the pedagogy was scared, who cares? I mean, we realized that education is such a big responsibility. It's a huge responsibility as a college, as a university. When you take on any student, you're kind of promising him, her, saying that, okay, you have put a trust on us, and we will ensure that we'll carry it forward towards not just 3-4 years, but throughout your career, because that name of Lovely or any other college name would remain on your resume throughout your life. So it's a huge thing that or a commitment that you're doing. We realized that as a college, we would not be able to fulfill that commitment in a right spirit, because we didn't have any control on that. So we realized, in case you want to make a big impact in a way that an education should do that, we need to be an autonomous university. And that strength or that commitment that we had towards our students has made us take this challenge and risk. I mean, absolutely right, it was a big risk, but we were very sure what we're doing. We knew that why we have taken this risk. And when you're very sure that why you have taken a step and you continue pursuing that goal, you would be successful. And God has been kind that we've been very successful. We knew why we'd done it, but within 1 year, when 2006, when we started the university, our curriculum is so different. I mean, it was aligned to the industry. We were going to the industry, taking their feedback. What are you really looking at? What are you looking at the curriculum? What are you looking at the people? What should we do? How should be our entrance examination system, or how should we do the examination? So there was a lot of new things that we brought in the university, a lot of experiment that we did. And today also we are one of the benchmark university in India. So, I mean, because we had a clear understanding why we have taken that step and we followed it, that's why we've been more successful vis-a-vis the other colleges who have taken that plunge of being a university and de-affiliating from a state central university.
Yeah. So what were the first courses when you started in 2001? And what was the first batch size also?
So, Suraj, we started with just 4 programs: BBA, BCA, MBA, MCA. We just had 240 students at that time, 22 staff members in total, including the peon and the security guard and everybody. And today we are some 35,000 plus students studying, full-time students studying with us. We have close to 200 programs in 45 plus disciplines, with some 3,500 staff members. So it's a big team now. So and it was just a very small campus of 3.5 acres. Now we're in hundreds of acres. So yeah, I mean, it's a trajectory that we've seen over the last 15 years.
3,500 staff members and 35,000 students, and over 200 courses you mentioned.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic. That's so nice to hear, and it's really inspiring. Also, about you, Aman sir, when did you step in? And prior to LPU, what all did you do? Is what we also like to understand from you.
So, I'm an engineer by background, so I've done my engineering from Punjab, from Thapar Institute at that time, and then I worked in Bangalore in Mindtree, worked in Wipro in Delhi, and then I went to UK for my MBA. In 2005-06, and then I joined in the university in the year 2006 when the university just started. So, and September 10th is the exact date when I joined the office in 2006.
Okay, so with the kind of education and exposure that you had, you mentioned about Mindtree, and then you went on to did engineering from Thapar. I'm sure you must have been a very studious and brilliant student, good in academics.
On this webinar, I have to say this, yes, I was very good. I was good.
Very easily everybody gets admission into LPU or Thapar sort of institutions, so I can understand that. I can imagine, because I also aspired for similar sort of institutions, but I couldn't really get into. But barring that element, now the exposure, the education, and you went on, did your masters from UK. You could have done anything else, because you mentioned that there was a lot of financial stability in the family by then. You could have started a different sort of business. So why did you choose to step into education or LPU in particular? And second part of the question, I like to answer, is that the moment you joined in, it was 2006 when the formation of the university just happened, right? So I'm very sure that you must have had some challenges, a lot of challenges at hand at that point of time. So what did you pick up as a challenge for yourself?
So, Suraj, to answer your first question, when I was studying in college in Thapar, no, I went for my internship in Delhi in HFCL at that time, Connect HFCL at that time, and also in LG. So when I was working in Delhi, I used to do counseling for the with the college that used to run.
Oh,
Office in Delhi, and I used to handle that. So part time, I used to do my training and then immediately rush to the office and used to handle the office as well. I remember in the morning there used to be advertisement of Lovely in Delhi, and I used to get a call at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning. I used to get up and then 6 o'clock I'm on with the phone in the office that okay, if the call comes, I should be able to concentrate. So I think I've seen education from that time very closely. I mean, I was seeing the education part of the group very closely, and I have always thought it's a very it's one area where you have a lot of commitment, responsibility, and a huge transformation it can do to a kid. Because I remember, the kid that I got enrolled in an MBA program, and he found a job, and he actually called me up and said, "Thank you, sir. You helped me get into Lovely." And no, he didn't know that who I am. I'm part of the family or not, because I was really working and it was only part time. And he said, "Today I've got a job into this thing. Thank you." Now, when you see the stories happening in front of your eyes, you will see that it's such a big transformation that you can bring by the sheer education. I think no other sector can bring such a transformation and kind of love that you can get in the eyes of the customers, if I could put that tag to the students. And even when I went to UK, I went to University of Southampton, which is one of the best in management, engineering, and education. I chose University of Southampton because it is very good in education and management both. And I chose a total quality management as my thesis topic in University of Southampton. So I think somehow I was very convinced that I want to do this. I want to get into the education part of it. If not been LPU, I would have been in doing some startup in that area. But I think I knew something in the education. And when the university was formed in 2006, there was definitely a need of more hands and minds in the group. So it was no brainer for me to join the education bit of the group. And when I joined, the immediate puzzle which I picked up was two, three things. One is the IT infrastructure, because you're coming from UK, you're coming from that tech background, how we can implement more technology in the university. And I can proudly say that LPU is one of the only paperless university in the country where almost all the processes are on or ERP driven, on the mobile app driven. And Suraj, when we have a lot of discussion, there's a lot of IT integration that has already happened in the university, and we are way ahead of many of the universities in terms of the IT adaptation. Second is of course, the business development and the marketing. Can say sales bit of the university. When I joined, there were some 7,000-8,000 students, and most of the students were from Punjab, Himachal area. And the piece that I picked up, that how we can grow the numbers, ensure that we bring the diversity, because I knew that Punjab Punjab population may not be growing very quickly because there's a lot of outflux to Canada or US or UK. So I think that bit helped us. And today I'm very proudly can proudly say that today we have students from all across the country. We are the only private or probably only university in the country who's been able to reverse the trend. Suraj, you know that a lot of students from North India used to travel to South for their engineering and management, to Tamil Nadu, to Karnataka, even to Maharashtra. LPU is the only university who are able to reverse this trend. Now there are a lot of universities who follow us, but it was able to reverse the trend. And we have almost like 25-30% of our students coming from South of India, from states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Orissa, this Maharashtra. So we were able to reverse the trend. That's a bit that I picked up. And third is the internationalization of the education. We've been working with a lot of universities abroad. Because of my international exposure, I picked up that internationalization part as well. And today we have 300 plus collaboration across the universities across the globe. And we have 3,500 international students who are studying with us in the campus. Trust me, nobody is near to us, even in this domain. So, these are the three bits which I picked up. And now there are multiple other areas which I take care of.
Great. Why is something that I like to really understand from you, because what you're telling me, from 2006, 2022, from 5,000-6,000 students to 35,000 students, from 200 odd staff members to 3,500 today. It's an immense scale, not just in terms of volumes, but I think everything has really shaped up really well and really fast. So given all the challenges, challenges around positioning an institution which had a very common household name, right? So resonating it with an educational brand, and then coming from a sweets manufacturing sort of sector, and all of these things, early aspiration of becoming a university, then making it really happen. From making LPU an aspirational brand for thousands of students who apply and want to, somehow get into the institution, right? And then reversing the trend also, right? What do you think really worked well? I'm sure you must have done a lot of experiments, a lot of failures. You must have also seen. So what were the things that you actually executed really well, because of which, the university led to this kind of a scale?
So, Suraj, I think the first and foremost thing which I would like to give a credit is our Chancellor, Mr. Mittal, who's my uncle as well. And I think it is his leadership which has always put us on track. I mean, wherever we kind of move here and where, he's well there that that's a target. And he kept increasing the target every year in terms of everything. And I think that's one thing which I would say is clear about LPU is the leadership. Leadership is very strong and very committed in whatever way we want to go. I think that's something is the starting point. But I think secondly, we always had an idea of think big, that and we use this as our logo as well, and as our punchline, the think big, and we practice it day and night. I mean, if you've seen LPU in action, maybe in terms of the campus, in terms of the services, in terms of the events, in terms of the convocation, we have hosted the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Vice President Mr. Naidu, and late Pranab Mukherjee. I mean, we have done a very, very big event. We have to always think big is the mantra, and we have been very good with the execution plan. We've tried to build a lot of things in-house, a lot of capabilities in-house. And that has also helped us. I mean, I don't say that that's the best way to do it, but I think it worked for us. We have built up our IT teams. While most of the universities, colleges, they used to outsource their IT work or not do it at all, we built a 16-people team who were just working on the area of IT and software development. And we have built our own online team, all online execution team, marketing team. So I think there's a lot of bullish steps we took, and we went all out. We went really all out. I mean, it's like when you are trying to achieve big things, you have to take a bigger, bolder risk. I mean, I still remember when we launched, and I came and we wanted to be a household name, and we want to set up some particular targets. We went and advertised in television, and at that time, I think it was only Amity and LPU who used to advertise, and people used to like, what happened to LPU? They're advertising, and probably were the only one who went to IPL and advertised at that time. Now, probably there could be a few more people, and now we cannot afford to advertise in IPL. IPL is so expensive. But yeah, I mean, we have taken those bold steps, and we were the first one to adopt the digital technology in delivery of education, in the marketing of the university. We have the largest social media presence today. We have 1.4 million users on Facebook. We have the largest Instagram page in the country and 20th in the world among the education category. So we've been very bullish about it. And I think that's one thing which I want to tell everybody, and which is my takeaway as well from running this large institution or being part of the founding team of it. Please think large. Sometimes, you have to take a bigger risk to achieve the big things. And we should aim big. Otherwise, we'll not be able to make a very strong, sustainable, scalable enterprises that we all think of.
Great. So there are a couple of questions. Before I pick one of the questions, there's one really very interesting question. But before that, I'd like to really understand from you, sir, on all the things that you've mentioned to be executing in terms of, thinking and innovating to be ahead the curve always. How have you, structured your teams, or how did the structure of teams really built up over the period of time? Because for one person, right, to beat anybody, right, to think and execute a lot of things, because everybody needs expertise and specialization, not just to innovate, but also to put things into execution and application, right? How did you structure the team, or did that really happen?
So, I mean, it's a very organic growth that we have taken place. I mean, you see that we've not acquired any colleges or anything like that. So it was very organic growth. So a lot of our team members are very, very old team members. We still have we have Mr. Dr. Manish, Dr. Sopti. There are a lot of people who are just 20 years old in the system or so. So I think
Yeah.
we've been able to grow our talent who joined us and believed in us and gave their 100% from the very beginning. And at the same time, we kind of brought a lot of new talent, new blood into the system, because it's very important to have that new blood into the system coming into, keep the level going up. So we've been able to do that. And third is, we've been able to bring that tech part of it in the monitoring of the teams and the work we're doing. Probably we are the only university, and it's the chancellor's vision that we should have a KPI and KRA for every division, every school, every department of the university, and that has kept everybody on toes. I mean, you know that you would be evaluated on these parameters. A lot of times teams do not know what to achieve until as you don't know what to achieve, and also there is no measures to achieve your achievements. You will never be able to grow. And we've been able to put that system where there's the right KPIs and the right KRS, and by which you're able to grow. And then we have, of course, we have probably would be very clear in our structure approach. Everybody has their own areas of work, and to an extent we definitely integrate when we have to, but otherwise you work very independently in your area of work, and that helps you to take decision quickly. I mean, there are not too many bureaucracy in the work. There are no committees. I've seen it very often. The universities love to make committees. There's that committee, that committee, that committee. We said, okay, let it be a lean structure. If you have to take any decision, why to make a committee thing? I mean, we can take a decision by one head, and if it needs to be, there's a technology platform which you can use to take a decision. Why to wait for a committee meeting to happen to take a decision? So I think those approaches has helped us to keep it lean, clean with respect to the KPI and KRAs, and ensuring that there's an execution happening at every level. We have also introduced something called as relationship management system, RMS. So in case I'm reporting to you, and there's a complaint against me, so or there is a suggestion or recommendation against me, it will, if I don't answer those suggestion recommendation, will come to you in 3 days time. If I still don't do it within 5 days, it will go to your boss. If it doesn't happen, it will go to the senior most boss. So now there's a accountability in the work that we have been able to create, and it helps. I mean, it really helps, and everybody's on their toe too.
How are your new employees, not the old ones, because these are the people putting up the processes, but how are the new employees responding to this kind of an RMS?
I think they're pretty. I mean, we say we have a very stringent entry process. We do multiple rounds of interviews, and we're very clear that we want good talent to join us, and we are a very good paymaster in that way. So if we think that if you want to have a good talent, you have to pay them rightly, and you have to give them the right environment. And LPU is one organization which has been able to give both a right pay structure and the right environment, and people value that. I mean, in the end, people don't quit their jobs, but they quit their bosses, or they quit the organization because of the wrong structures they put in place. But at LPU, we have tried to do that. And whosoever is not able to perform, we have a very open door policy, both sides. I mean, in case you're not, I mean, and the people who are performing, they're given a very, very quick rise. So talent is really valued at LPU at every level.
Fantastic. No stereotyping. And see, I had a great takeaway. I think delegation of authority, when you really grow large, becomes very, very important. And I think that's what you also indicated of not having committees, but because usually in larger universities, larger institutions, there are larger decisions to be taken. And then, a lot of people would want to take a buy-in from a lot of others, right? But that, delays the processes, delays the decision making, delays the execution, and delays the growth also in a way, right? However, I think it's a great takeaway that how do you really retain the best of the talent and make a very strong team, and then eventually delegate authority to them to take decisions and do faster execution. When KRAs and KPIs and delivery and outcome is very, very transparent, then the goal is set.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Now, I'll pick up a question here from the audiences. Mr. Abhinav Kumar has said you hello. He says, hello, Aman sir. There are many groups which focus on opening universities of new campuses at various locations across India or abroad. But on the contrary, LPU has been determined on a single campus in Jalandhar. What's the reason behind it?
So Abhinav, hello. Simple reason, we always thought to put our resources at making one campus, one university, which is one of the best in the country or in the world. And that's why we have not diluted our resources, both energy, money, time, in going to opening the campuses at various locations. And you have seen it. I mean, Abhinav, there are a lot of universities who have diluted their resources and they've opened the campus at various locations, but not any so far has been successful in creating two great center of excellence. I mean, whatever has been their flagship campus remains their flagship campus, and the second campus which they were open has not done well so far. In most, I would say 99% of the cases. And at LPU, we wanted to be very clear. We want to stabilize this campus and make it one of the best in the country and in the world. Our target is to make it top 200 universities of the world. And we are trying to achieve that target. And I think we are in a good state of mind to look at more opportunity of doing the campus now. But I think didn't want to dilute it before.
All right. I hope, Abhinav, you've got your answer. I think, what you beautifully explained is that instead of, making a lot of openings, let's create a pull and aspire to be one of the top universities of the world, not just the country. So that's the focus. Another question, and then I'll move to the next segment by Nilesh Kumar, is that no doubt LPU commands a stronghold in international student acquisition. It would be great if Aman sir may explain what worked for you to attract such a large set of international applications or international students.
So Nilesh, hi. I mean, the whole idea is that, think of it that we are trying to bring our international students to a place called Jalandhar, which many of the Indians would also not know. That where is Jalandhar? I mean, if you go to south of India, Bangalore, or probably even in north of India, and say that we are from Jalandhar, people would say, where is it? And absolutely, it was a very challenging thing to bring such a large number of students, not to a city called Bangalore, Pune, or Chennai, or Delhi, where already a large number of international students are going, but to a country, to a place like Jalandhar, and then trying to sell lovely professional university to them. But I think it is very persistent. We were very clear. We wanted to have international students, not because of the revenue that they bring in, but because of the diversity and the richness in the classroom that they bring in terms of the viewpoints, in terms of the discussion points. And our intent was very clear. We want to achieve this. And this can only happen if we bring the diversity in the campus. And so we were very persistent in our effort. I've personally traveled so many countries to set up this network of people and tying up with the governments, talking to the governments, giving them the opportunity to visit the university and see with their own eyes that what LPU is trying to do with the education, that we've been able to reach this stage where we have such a large number of students. I mean, during the COVID as well, while most of the international offices have shut down in most of the universities, nobody was coming in, we grew. So I think it was because of the strong brand name and strong persistent effort, we've been able to do that. One learning is you have to go there. You have to travel. A lot of us, like Indians, believe that no, we will. It's a chicken and egg story. That no, when students will come, then we will travel, then we will spend money, and then we will see it. But we went ahead. We actually traveled abroad, and did that hard work to get these students. And today, I'm very proud to say that almost 80% of the universities would have my international office staff sitting as a director or president or something or somebody else. It's all because training that we've been able to give in the university. So it was a lot of hard work, but I'm very happy and proud that my people are doing so good in other universities as well.
Great. Thank you for answering that question. And for the rest of the people in the audiences, we've got close to 148 people. So you may also feel free to ask questions. I'll pick that up and ask Aman sir, right, if there's something which is relevant. You mentioned about having around 3,500 staff members. A lot of them, I think most of them are faculty members that you have, sir. Now, because we also deal with a lot of universities and institutions across, and we, in our discussions find out that, finding right set of faculty, even in the urban, in the metros, is a big challenge. And for any institution, the foundation is delivering very high quality academics, right? So how have you, managed to attract such wider talent, faculty members, top scholars, researchers, and, pull them in Jalandhar in the university, and especially in the initial days, how did you
No,
manage it?
Suraj, definitely for no human resources. Is the biggest capacity that you're trying to build when you're running a service-based industry like education. And I think it was definitely a very big challenge initially when you're trying to bring the best of the people into a city like Jalandhar. But I think we were always very, as I told you, we were always very good with our pay scales and giving the right environment to the people. And I think that has worked in our favor, and that has helped us to get a name that, if you want a good career, you want a good environment, and the right salary structure as per your capabilities, LPU is a very good place. So initially we took time for this message to go out, but today, as we rightly said, we have 3,500 people, and we have people coming from Kanyakumari to Srinagar, from Kutch to actually Itanagar, and even from outside the country, who are working with us, who are contributing to the growth of the university and shaping up these students. But I would always say that please invest in your people. A lot of time, our fellow fraternity, they don't invest into their human resource. We need to keep investing in the human resource as well. We are the only university, probably one of the only university, who have a human resource development center, HRDC, whose only role is to ensure to find the gap in the faculty members and all the staff members, and see that how we can fill it up. The technology is changing so quickly, the industry requirement changing so quickly, and if they have somebody who's 10 years or 15 years into the system, he or she may not be really aware. He or she would be updating themselves, but you definitely need some external inputs. So HRDC is doing that. We are investing into that. Now, today with that, we have a 1 million euro project coming from European Union. We have been working in country like Mongolia or Rwanda, a lot of consultancy projects, which I don't think any of the universities is doing. So, you have to build the right team. You have to invest in them. You have to train them rightfully.
No, fantastic. A lot of things. I think my agenda is getting absolutely fulfilled to know more about the university, its background, to know more, about yourself, and a lot of discoveries we are doing. I wish we did that 2 years ago. The discussion that we're having today. Not that we have not talked in journal, we have, but not from this lens. And it's really, really, I'm really driven with the kind of vision that you're mentioning and the background that you've shared with us. Thank you so much yet again. Aman sir, a lot of, again, because it's a universal scale, 35,000 students, that means 35,000 students and their parents. So more than lakh students every year expecting you to get them great placements. Right? So is that a pressure? How do you manage that?
So definitely it's a responsibility that we have to take care of it. Definitely there's a challenge here when people confuse placement as the only career. We always say that placement is not only the career. You want to have a startup, you have a placement, you need to do a government job, you want to get to higher education abroad or within India or into civil services. There are different career paths that you want to follow. So what we have done is, right after your first year, we ask the student to choose a career path, and we are trying to customize that career path for that particular student, and that has helped us to keep the aspiration level of the students and parents high, and we've been able to fulfill that aspiration because we are trying to customize that path for those students. So if somebody wants to have a startup idea, we are helping them with the venture fund, or helping them to mentor those ideas, or helping them with the classes on how to manage the brand, finances, register a brand, blah, blah, stuff. Somebody wants to get into the corporate world, maybe in computer science, we are giving them a cutting edge knowledge on the artificial intelligence, machine learning, or whatever is the new in that particular domain he or she is studying. So I think definitely there's a responsibility and pressure, but I think if you have a plan to execute it, and not just praying to God that, hey God, just help them with the placement, without a plan, definitely you would be in a huge pressure. But once you have a plan, you know it, and you're trying to execute it in the right way, you won't have that pressure as much.
Yeah. So you also pointed about, creating a pathway for students, who want to even further higher ed, maybe they want to go abroad. That also that brings me to a question, and also there is a question from the audiences on that line as well. So Yamini Sen has asked that why do you think students are moving abroad for higher ed, and is it the quality of education here that is lacking or something? And that's exactly the same question that I also wanted to ask you. Is it more towards the social status motivation of the parents that they're sending the students abroad, or is it really a perception that the quality of education is better out there? Because there are some cousins that I have. I'm also a Punjabi, so some of them have moved to say US and Canada, and they're studying there. And then in our conversations, I've realized that even the curriculum, the books that they're studying are also the same. The same books are being referred, are suggested to them, right? So, what is this all difference, and how they
I'm glad that you're answering, ask this question, because it's very close to me that, and I have a very strong opinion. People are not going abroad for a better education, but they're going abroad for a better opportunities. Most of the people who go abroad, they go for a master's there. Generally, 70% of the times they go for a master's abroad, and they think there would be a better opportunities for them to settle down in that country, mainly in US, UK, Australia, Canada, and find a job there, which would pay them in dollars. So I think it is the better opportunities that brings them. Of course, there would be few people who might be going for their social status, or who are not able to get into a great institutions in India, and that's why they have to go to foreign university, but not because of better education. I have studied abroad. I have many of my friends have gone abroad, or people have gone abroad. I know them. It's not about better education abroad. India has one of the best education system, has one of the best institution, has one of the best faculty members, and I think we will see the time when you will see this trend stop, because the way Indian economy is growing, the Indian startup sector is growing. I would be very sure that the opportunities that India would have would be much better than the opportunities that US or Canada would have in future. So time is future would be for India, both in education as well as in economy. I strongly believe in that.
Wow. Think big, think large, execute really well. Again, the key takeaway, believe in sheer execution. Fantastic. So the last segment of the discussion is a quick rapid fire. Not I'm going to ask you a lot of questions here, but I'm going to throw some words on you, right? And you just let me know that what's the first thing which comes to your mind when you hear that word. If you want to take a pause and let me know, but be very honest and tell me exactly the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that.
Sure, go ahead.
Ready with that? All right, great.
Yeah.
All right, best friend.
Rahul.
Rahul, okay. My wife actually did that with me, and then I was a little prepared. She said best friend. I said books.
Smart, huh? Smart. I hope you didn't say Tina.
No. By the way, I had a friend, Tina. So, all right. So, and then the next question that she asked me that, what was the last book that you read? So I said, okay, I'll like to change my first answer. I'll say Himanshu. So thank you for being honest. All right. Best friend is Rahul. Next word is passion.
Education.
All right. What does success means for you?
Hard work.
Great. Technology.
Execution, because technology is about, a lot of time people get confused with the technology, that they buy the technology, buy a lot of platforms, but if you don't execute it right, you really waste a lot of money. And NPF is a very good example of that. I'm sure there are so many institutions and universities now who are using NPF platform, and I am sure the insane amount of time that you have to spend on executing it. And I know the NPF team, Suraj, I know you, and everybody back in NPF. And one thing which I really love about the NPF team is the sheer execution and the passion that which you execute the technology in the campuses. So I would say that execution is very important part of it. And I don't know, it came to my mind and I just said it.
All right, 2 thumbs up. Thank you so much. The next word is fear, or what do you fear the most?
Lizards.
Is it? I do also fear lizards and cockroaches a lot. All right. Next, very close to your heart, marketing.
Uh, I think it is, there's nothing like a marketing, I would say. I think it's a love for the love of seeing that LPU brand everywhere in the world is something say. So if we are say marketing, I would just say brand LPU. Because it's not marketing, it's just love the brand LPU. And I want to see it everywhere.
Wow, that's a fantastic answer. All right, we've already spoken, but no paper forms. You can
I
give
think
it a pass.
no paper form is also now building huge trust in the industry. I mean, people were really wary about that. Know how the NPF is going to shape up, because you're giving access to your data outside the out to a third party. So definitely, it's bringing in the trust and automation in the admission season. So I would say automation and efficiency are the two things that comes to mind when you say NPF.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We are nearing the end. It's almost 5. So it was great to be with you, Aman sir. I think a lot of learnings, a lot of understanding of the family, where it all start from, and truly inspired to hear about your grandfather, Ashok sir, yourself, the entire family, right? The 40, 60 years of hardship in building this brand and scaling it up to this level, and then your determination towards it, right? The moment you said that marketing for you means looking at LPU everywhere, right? And I could really relate very well with it, right? We wear t-shirts with names, carrying logos of our institution on our chest, right? So that's the same that we also feel. So it was great. I think a lot of takeaways I've already shared, but I think for scale, delegation of authority, for quicker decision making, investing in right sort of technology, investing in teams, thinking big, right? And there is no lovely saying, so please don't look for lovely saying in the campus ever. For all the audiences that we have, now we know the history of Lovely Professional University. Indeed is a very beautiful campus, a very lovely campus with lovely people around. So that's all from my side, Aman sir. Any concluding remarks from your end?
No, all I would say is that to all my education fraternity people, that education is a very big responsibility. Let's take this responsibility with, or try to fulfill this responsibility with 100% commitment. And I'm very optimistic about that. India has the potential to be the Wish Guru. We were the country where the first university was born, first institutions were born, Takshilas were born. And I think it's time to take that baton back into our hand and think that, okay, what we could do it 100 or hundreds of years back, we can do it now with more power to us because of the people, the minds, and the commitment that we Indians have. So it's time to take that baton of the leader in education from the world, which we gave it to other countries, back into our country. And we can do it. I mean, if we do it with 100% commitment, we can do it. And that's going to be the biggest giveaway to the country that as education fraternity we can deliver. So I'm very optimistic, and I believe in my fraternity.
All right, thank you so much, Aman sir. It was lovely being with you. Salute to the inspiration that you've given to us, and also to the passion that you have. And thank you so much for being such a lovely partner. And to all the ladies and gentlemen who are patiently hearing us. So we still have 118 people. So thank you so much for being there. We were in candid conversation with Aman Mittal, sir, and then we'll have similar conversations in the following weeks to come. So we'll have more founders and sharing their inspirational stories. So stay tuned until we meet next. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Suraj. Bye-bye. Take care.